everyone, and welcome to our YouTube channel, Moneyline with Nancy at TV. In case you're not a subscriber yet, please do subscribe. Just press the subscribe button as well as turn on the notification bell so that you can get notifications when we upload our videos. Don't also forget to subscribe and join, follow, like our other social media platforms. Of course, you're seeing it right about now. Don't also forget to share this video across your platforms. Enjoy the video. Welcome back. Simon Onojah, the Acting Director of Financial Policy Regulation Department at the Central Bank of Nigeria, joins me right now to discuss the new ATM charges. Mr. Onojah, good to see you again. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Nancy.
How are you doing?
I'm very good.
Nigerians are not smiling now. They are not smiling. So tell me, and why they are not smiling is because there seems to be charges here and there. You know, we are paying directly or indirectly. So explain to me the rationale while the Central Bank of Nigeria is raising ATM charges at this time. Why?
Thank you very much. I think Nigerians should be smiling because the policy that we are discussing right now, the circular, is actually out to make access to cash faster, easier, and more tenable for Nigerians. If you go straight to the subject matter of the circular, we understand that Nigerians need access to cash. That is aside the fact that we've been trying to promote cashless society, cashless transactions, the use of other channels, and all of that for business deals. But we also understand that irrespective of all this, there is need to have some cash in the pocket, in the wallet. And we also understand that it has been a bit difficult in the recent past for Nigerians to have access to cash. And so sitting down very well and articulating all the challenges relating to this cash availability, we felt there's need to revisit the ATM operations. A number of us are aware that some machines have been taken out of sight, some have not been dispersing cash, and a lot of challenges in that respect. And so we need to engage the stakeholders in this respect. And those are the financial institutions, the banks, and to understand why this has been so. And the process of this engagement was what culminated into what has come out to be the circular that we are discussing today. There has been a lot of stakeholder engagement towards ensuring that this cash situation and these cash challenges are solved. And so coming out clear on this, we have come out to say, yes, you have to pay a little more to have access to the cash, but now you have different channels, different locations where the cash will be available to you. In the first place, you are sure that when you get to the machine, you are going to get cash. It's not like you transport yourself all the way to a particular ATM, and then you get there, and then you see a message that you cannot have cash. So at this point, we are assuring Nigerians that as they visit the machines, they will have cash. Number two, what we know that, yes, in the previous period, there has been that free 3-time withdrawal, not on us, on the ATM of an institution that is not your bank. Let me also say here that the banks have been paying for this withdrawal. It's not that it has been altogether free for yourself and your bank. Your institution, where you hold the card, even though it is telling you can withdraw 3 times for free, your financial institution has always paid for it. But now we said, okay, now you can go yourself and make a choice. If you continue to dwell on your bank's ATM, I tell you, you will never pay a dime for it, whether it is on-site or off-site. The issue of paying the 100 naira comes only when you use the machine of another bank. And so the choice becomes yours. So to summarize this aspect, I say that Nigerians should be happier because now there is an assurance of availability of cash each time they go to the ATM. Not to also forget to say that the amount that you can withdraw is also instructed to be not less than 20,000 in the case that you want to withdraw up to 20,000. Our experience in the past has been that when you use a card that is not on your bank, you may just see a limit of 5,000 or 10,000 as the case may be. But we have agreed with the banks that each time a customer wants to withdraw cash up to 20,000, The choice is his to withdraw less than 20,000, but if he wants to withdraw up to 20,000, he should always have that 20,000 to withdraw.
Okay, I have to take you up on some of the things you've said. You're saying that Nigerians should actually smile and we should be happy at this because this guarantees availability of cash. So I suppose you're saying that the cash scarcity would reduce because of this.
At the ATM.
At the ATM. The other question is, why do I need to pay more for this? And let me situate my question. Because the banks themselves, Mr. Onojah, you said that the banks have been taking this cost. I want to disagree with you on that. And let me tell you why. You have accounts with banks. You're seeing different kinds of charges, account maintenance charge, so charge. So I don't even want to believe that the banks are doing this for free. The banks will be the last people to do something for free for Nigerians, as it were. So I want you to explain that and perhaps even why I'm paying more. I understand I read your circular and you signed it. You situated rising costs as well as improved efficiency for the banks. So I want you to explain that more.
Okay, thank you very much. It is going to be too heavy for me to come here and tell Nigerians what is not true. So the banks have been paying for those 3 free withdrawals that you've been having. And secondly, to say that, yes, you go to your bank's machine from that 1st of March, you can withdraw 20 times in a day, you will not pay any kobo.
That's if you go to your bank.
Your bank, that's true. And to see, and like you said, the opening paragraph of the circular talks about what we all know, the rising cost of operations. The last time we visited these charges was in 2019, which became effective in January 2020. And we know that the economy has changed, inflation rates have gone up, and so many costs have increased. We are all party to this, not only in the banking sector. And so if we hold down the cost from 2020 to 2025, that's about 5 years. I think it has been fair. We are all part of it. It's not that the bank will recognize me as a CBN staff and I will not pay. No, I will also pay. But we have to be very, very objective in this analysis. So the rising cost, the cost of operations, the machines are expected to work 24 hours in 7 days. And that means whether there is power supply in that environment or not, that machine is supposed to be working, meaning you have to power it by alternative means. You have to ensure that the machines are secured. We've had situations in the past where there were attempts made to take the machines away. And so it has to be secured, and all of other costs that are associated with the businessmen called the bank. Because the bank I overhear some of the people interviewed on the street talking about government. This is not government. This is business. Your financial institution is not owned by government. Government does not come in to pay any cost in the course of your operating your business, like going to the bank, opening your account, withdrawing your money. And this money is not going to the government. It's not going to CBN. It is going to those who have invested in these financial institutions who also expect returns, who will not be running at a loss. If they run at a loss, they go out of existence. We've had situations in the past where banks go into extinction, and we know the spiral effects on the economy, on ourselves, and all of that. So they need to also be in business. And that is what we mean by that opening paragraph of rising cost of operations. And this is on one side. On the side of the customer, we have also ensured, like I said earlier, engaged with the banks to ensure that as this goes up, we have gotten their commitment, we've gotten their buy-in to ensure that customers will go to the machines and they will be able to see this cash they are going for. They will always have the cash to withdraw. So that commitment is there. That understanding is there with the financial institutions.
Mr. Onojah, for the central bank to come to this point, do you think that we came to this point as a result of the different scenarios that we've seen? And let me situate them again. That perhaps this was intentional by the banks to be able to twist the hand of the central bank to come to this decision to raise the charges. Bearing in mind that we've seen cash scarcity for a long time. I've used this platform to speak on it. I've even spoken to officials, your colleagues at the central bank, concerning cash scarcity and the shenanigans by POS operators. So perhaps it was perhaps a deliberate thing that the banks connived and all of that. So twist you people's hand to increase ATM charges so that we'll come here as, because I assume that when you guys go for supervision and all that, they're like, oh, God, we are paying so much for this, you know, all of that. So if people now came to this point, is that the situation?
Nancy, I know you can answer the question you're asking me, but let me
That's
also,
why I'm asking
yeah,
you.
so let
I'm
me,
not a CBN official.
yeah, but that's the reality. Economic realities show that costs are rising. So it is not as if the banks are saying things that are not real. We all go to the market, we are players in the economy, and we understand how costs are rising. So if the banks are saying, and we agree with them, that there's rising cost of operations, it is true. It is not any ploy by the banks to twist our hand. By the way, the financial institutions can not actually twist the hand of the central bank. We have enough mandates, we have enough intelligence and skill, we have enough authority.
They can persuade you people now.
Yeah, but when you are being persuaded, it's objective persuasion. But if we don't see reason in any persuasion, then we will not take it because we know that this thing is not real, if it is not real. So it is not that way at all. The second thing is that there's enough integrity in the financial system among the operators, the banks, to begin to say they are coming up to say things that are not real. That is not correct. So whatever we have done is because we have looked at the reality that is on ground. And not just on the side of the bank. We have also seen how Nigerians have suffered in the recent past on the issue of access to cash. Let me tell you this, that there's a high-powered committee working on what we call access to cash. Today is Tuesday. As I speak, the team is still working from the office of the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, led by a special assistant to the governor, on working on access to cash. It's a different team that is working to ensure that this challenge of access to cash is resolved. And so we are part of the system. And remember, the central bank of today is we are working towards being trusted and being respected, so that whatever we say is in tandem with the economic realities that we are all seeing today. So access to cash is a challenge. CBN is working on it. This is one of the ways we want to address it, and there are many more ways that will come up as a result of that work that is going on from the office of the governor.
Okay, let's drill in and check out what you put out in terms of this new ATM transaction fees. I want you to explain it further. You actually mentioned that if you go to your own bank ATM to withdraw money, it's still going to be free for you. So I assume that many Nigerians will try as much as possible to go to their own bank ATMs to avoid those fees. So can you speak to me about how these new charges work, on-site, off-site, and the international part of it, as well as the surcharge, all the things it entails?
Okay, thank you very much. There are 3 levels to these charges that we have revised. The first one is like what I said earlier. You go to your bank with your card, any location of your bank. You can go there how many times a day it doesn't really matter. And you withdraw, you don't pay anything, as long as you are going to your own bank. Whether the bank you are going to is a physical branch that you walk into the premises, or is a machine that is deployed in a remote location. But as long as it is your bank, you do not pay anything.
That's the on-us transaction.
That's the on-us transaction. Then the remote on us, or what we call not on us transaction, is a situation where you carry your own card of ABC Bank and you go to CDAF Bank, that is either in the premises of that other bank or on remote location. But as long as it is not your own bank, that is where the charges will start coming in. The third level is if you go to an ATM that is located outside any banking premises, either your own or the other bank, but it's in a remote location, like we talked about the hotels, the plazas, and all of that. As long as it's not your own, you will pay. If it's on remote, you pay the first 100 naira.
As long as it's not your own, what do you mean? As
long
as it's not your own bank.
Your own bank, sorry, that's what I mean.
Yes.
And then you pay the first 100 naira, and then you have the option of agreeing to pay the surcharge. That means if you are withdrawing on a remote on us, not your own ATM, in a remote location, the moment you put in your details, your PIN and all of that, it will give you an option, give you a message to let you know that this ATM does not belong to your bank. this ATM is not in the premises of another bank. It is in a remote location. Are you happy to pay the surcharge of 500 naira? Until you accept it, it will not dispense for you. So the option is still there for you to make a choice. But in all of these 3 locations, even if it is not in the premises of your bank and it's in a remote location, as long as that ATM belongs to your bank, you don't pay anything.
So if I go with my ATM card to like a petrol station or where there's or a hotel or a plaza, it's my bank's ATM machine that is there. It's my own card.
Yeah.
I won't pay.
You won't pay.
I won't pay. Okay. But if it's not my bank,
yeah,
and I'm withdrawing, for example, 20K,
yes,
20,000,
yeah,
I will pay 100 naira,
yeah,
and the surcharge will still come up there.
yes.
500. What's that surcharge for?
That surcharge, you know, like we all agreed earlier, maintaining a machine that is outside your premises attract extra cost,
Okay.
extra vigilance, extra security, and all of that. Maybe you even need to pay for that space where you are installing the machine. So it's an extra cost to the operator, that is to the financial institution. But again, the good thing about it is it's your choice. And again, we draw Nigerians' attention to the e-channels that are available. If I go to the hotel or go to the mall, I can use my card on the machines, on the merchant POS, to make any payment. There's no limit to how much you can pay with your card. As long as you have your card and there's cash availability on your account, you can make the payment. All we are saying, in the event that you need some little cash in your pocket, which shouldn't be so much because there are so many other ways of transacting, then those charges will come to play.
Okay, so this now, okay, look at the international ATM withdrawals before I come to the next question.
Yeah, we say that has not changed.
Okay.
It's according to the charges of the acquirer. So we didn't tamper with that. That's what we put out in 2020, and that is what is still there because the costs keep changing, and we don't have control over that. Even the banks down here do not have control over that cost. So it's just a cost recovery.
What if I want to withdraw less than 20,000 naira?
Yeah, that's the other side of it. Like we have said, from, I don't know what is the least one can withdraw, maybe from 100 naira to 20,000.
Some ATMs, I think they have 500 or 1,000 naira.
So it's a fixed charge, irrespective of how much you withdraw.
Oh.
From 1 naira to 20,000.
It's 100 naira.
It's 100 naira.
Okay.
Because the complexity of saying, because some people have approached us and said, why don't you prorate it? If I'm going to withdraw 10,000, let me pay 50 naira and all of that. That complexity is going to throw a number of challenges that will come up. But again, we also discovered from study that a number of people, 20,000 is a reasonable amount that people will always want to withdraw. And that's why we peg it at that point.
20,000 naira for a country that has a minimum wage of 70K. That's still a lot. Because I know a lot of people go and withdraw 5K and 10,000 naira. But anyway, you said you studied that. So let me allow you and your officials there. You talked about the surcharge thing. I want to ask this question around, because that surcharge has not been in our ATM machines. So that will be a new thing that will be added to those machines. Yeah. Will this time be enough from February 10 till February 28th to configure all the ATM machines to be able to show that, so that in case I want to withdraw, I must see that surcharge. If I want to, fine. If I don't want to, I go.
Nancy, like I told you earlier, we have, in the process of coming up with this, we have engaged the operators, the financial institutions all along. So we have not ambushed them, and this is no news to them. They've been part of the discourse. They've been part of the engagement. And so it is possible that be done by the 1st of March.
So if I withdraw more than 20K, I'll be paying 100 naira for every 20K?
Yeah.
That's if I want to withdraw like 100,000 naira, 500 naira?
Yeah, okay. That's what it means.
Oh, okay.
And some people have sent in notes to us to commend us, looking at the cost of getting cash in an unorthodox way. You just said one earlier, that getting cash in an unorthodox way, 20,000 will not be 100 naira. And so they're happy. That's number one. The second thing is, in some very remote locations, like going towards our financial inclusion drive, it is now possible and encouraging for the banks to deploy machines where there are no banks at all.
So it makes a business sense, more business senses for the banks to deploy machines
And
in
for
rural areas because they would be paying, Nigerians will have to pay for it.
And for the customers as well, who sometimes take the risk of traveling all the way to where the banking locations are to get cash.
I understand what you're saying in terms of perhaps it promoting financial inclusion, but I'm also sitting on the other side, that if you want to promote financial inclusion, I've said it on this platform, and I think I've also spoken to your colleagues about that, especially during the cash scarcity, that it's only in the country that I'm trading Naira, that I'm withdrawing, that is, I need Naira to withdraw Naira. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Naira trading against itself, as it were. That if I want Naira, I should be able to pay minimal. I know that the Central Bank of Nigeria incurs a lot of cost in terms of printing, even destroying the Naira and all of that. But to promote financial inclusion, perhaps we also need to encourage Nigerians not to pay so much for the Naira. I hope you understand what I'm saying, Mr. Onojah.
Not really.
Okay. Let me put it this way. You just mentioned something
because the charges
around
we are
cash.
talking about
Yes,
do
cash
not come
scarcity.
to CBN. Yeah?
No, I know it doesn't. I know it doesn't come to you. But the Central Bank of Nigeria incurs a lot of cost to print the Naira,
Sure.
destroy, and all of that, manage the cost of the Naira and all of that. What I'm trying to say in essence is that I see the logic that CBN is using in this, that during the cash scarcity, it will take you as much as like 1,000 Naira to withdraw 20K or 1,500 Naira to withdraw 20,000. Okay. But now you are saying 100 Naira for 20,000 Naira, isn't it? So it's cheap. Okay. So with what you are doing now, I'm analyzing what you people did. So with what you're doing now is cheaper to get. Okay. It will drive financial inclusion and all of that. That's the idea. Okay. Now, the question is, why must we get to that level of doing this in terms of, you know, even if I want cash in Nigeria, even if it's 100 Naira or 1,000 Naira, why should I pay so much? Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Because I also know that CBN wants to discourage the use of cash as much as possible. In other countries, does it happen as much as it happens here?
Paying so much for cash is a difficult call to agree with, because we are not in any way encouraging that you must withdraw the cash and use the cash. So the option is yours. Like I said earlier, you can, okay, we brought in the issue of agency banking, we brought in the issue of the POS operators, all those initiatives were born out of the plan to bridge the gap. The gap, because not everybody transacts on all those channels. There must be people that definitely, especially those in the remote areas, who will need to use cash. And so we brought in the POS issues and then the agency banking initiative, all to ensure that at any point in time, no matter the level of operations you are getting involved in, no matter your economic level, you have access to cash. And it's not as expensive as I think you and some Nigerians are looking at. So getting cash at that point becomes, again, just like killing two birds with one stone.
Will this ensure that there's cash in circulation? Will this now? Because if it doesn't, I will call you people out here, because what you are trying to do, and I said I'm trying to understand, is that there will be cash availability. Will this ensure that there's cash availability and there will be no scarcity? And will this also curb the excesses of POS agents? Will this also, will the central bank ensure that banks that do not adhere to this will be sanctioned? Will Central Bank of Nigeria ensure, since you have branches all over the country, ensure that ATMs across the country are filled with cash?
Yeah, that's the implementation angle that I've told you before, that this thing came out as a result of consultations and engagement with the financial institutions. We have different bodies that manage financial institutions. Mm-hmm. There's a body called the Body of Bank CEOs, Bank Chief Executive Officers. And along the line of developing this, we had room engagement with them. In fact, I'm sure by now there's a statement from them coming out to pledge their commitment towards the implementation of this policy, because it's not just a one-sided policy. Mm-hmm. Cash availability, yes, we must have cash available in all the ATMs. Cash availability is not to say we want to flood the economy with cash again. We're working contrary to our cashless policy, no. But to the extent of the cash that you need at any point in time, that you may not be able to use other channels to transact, you go to the ATM, you will get that cash. Now, let me speak on the monitoring.
Yes, the banks, quickly.
Yes, we have adequate mechanisms to monitor implementation of this. Just recently, a lot of banks, I don't want to name names here, were fined heavily.
I named them, about 9 of them,
Okay.
1.35 billion, I remember.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
So with that at the back of your mind, I think you can also answer on our behalf that the hammer from the governor, as he used to tell them, that compliance is the mantra. Any financial institution that does not comply will definitely be hammered. The last thing I want to say on this is that you are also an agent of the CBN. Each time you go to the ATM and you don't find cash, genuinely talk to the Consumer Protection Department.
Okay.
And we are ready to take it up and ensure that
Okay.
the implementation is
In just 10
assured.
seconds, does this affect over the counter? Can I still go to the banks, inside the banks, and still withdraw money?
Whatever regulation we have relating to over-the-counter transactions has not been changed by this circular.
Okay, so do you have an idea of how much I can still withdraw? Because I did that investigation over the counter for corporate and for individual accounts.
It's still the way it is.
It's still the way.
If you take your corporate entity to the bank to withdraw money and they tell you something other than what we have said out, please let us know.
All right, I will hold you to account, the institution to account. Let's see from March 1, and let's see how it happens.
We all have a role to play. You have a role to play. I have a role to play.
I'm trying my best to play the role.
Thank you for playing the role. And we want Nigerians to be happy to know that CBN is not against anybody, and we are not the fiscal side. The money is not coming to us as a revenue. All we are trying to do is to ensure that the fears, the sufferings, the challenges of Nigeria relating access to cash is addressed.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Onojah.
Thank you.
For coming on the program. Mr. Onojah is the Acting Director of Financial Policy Regulation at the department. For your questions on this, please send us WhatsApp messages and I'll forward to them. Thank you very much for joining us today. Please join us again tomorrow for another edition of the program. I am Nancy Naji, be the best you can be and be that change that you want to see. Thank you for making it up to this minute watching the video. Thank you all. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Moneyline with Nancy TV. Like, follow all our other social media platforms where we keep you up to speed with fantastic interviews, as well as markets, personal finance, business, and economy information. This is the best place to be. I'll see you all again in the next video.